Welcome, everyone, to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guests are returning guests, and I had the privilege of hanging out with them in Florida and getting to know them and have been on their show. And so I'm so grateful to be able to reciprocate again and have them on my show. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the amazing duo of the lifting.
Well, thank you, Michael. Yeah, that's very interesting. He's been on our show at least a couple times, and now we've been on his a couple times, and we have a mutual love of the paranormal and all things energetic, things of this nature. So yeah, it's very good to be on the show again. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you guys being able to come on, especially this close to the holiday season.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Happy to be with you and see you again. And we were just catching up a little bit right before we started because we've all been a little bit busy, so we haven't been able to see each other and talk to each other as much as we would want to. But so it's always nice to hear what's going on. But I'd asked you before, what has been the hot topics and what have really been people been interested in talking about on your shows. And, I think it's kind of very, very interesting, some of the conclusions and different things that you've come with. So I thought if you were up to it, we could just kind of give you some of our perspective of some of these interesting conversations that, that we could talk about within the different fields. And I call it the big internal revealings. Things that people are having to sit back and even look at themselves, look at what they're doing within their fields, and again, tear down some of the mythologies and different things that are there, and so that they can actually be, again, truly genuine and authentic, truly show caring and unity towards other people. And so we were just talking a little bit about this right before we started.
Yeah, so let's dive in and take it away.
So basically, one of the interesting things that I think's been going on within this very large community, we call this, broad topic, umbrella term, a disclosure community, but there's so many, many, many different parts to it, be it if you want to talk about aliens, be it if you want to talk about who really runs Earth, let's just say, be it secret space program, be it, you could just stick into one lane, be it you just want to talk about the energetics of how everything interacts together. There's so many different lanes. But one of the most interesting things that we have actually said, for a very long time now, is that the interesting thing about, humans and humanity is the understanding and knowledge that capabilities within the humans were going to expand and grow, where people were going to automatically get into these spaces where, they would realize we may be more than what we appear, that we may have skills, intuition, psychic skills, and different things. We may be able to start to see in different frequencies. We may be able to hear more than we normally would. And all of these different skills that start to cut on for humanity. So I think within that and with the perspective of what we talk about, that it's all there, good is there and bad is there, that an interesting thing for all of the fields related to disclosure is the simple fact that basically, although you'd want to think that we were just discovering, we were expected to discover. And so one of the unfortunate things that's happened out there that people are really having to face right now is that, let's just say, those that don't want to see you expand, they don't want to see you to move forward, they don't want you to unite, they were sitting and waiting for people to start to show these skills and waiting for people then to put in, I want to call it misinformation, mythos, and different things to kind of run them aground, circle a toilet of thought process, and even do something even worse, which is to create divides, meaning that I'm awake, you're asleep, right? or, I'm smart, you're dumb, or, all of these different aspects that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that happens within that always, unfortunately, is that we start to then put ourselves into categories, and then you only want to interact with people in your category, and you start to, I hate to say it, not be so nice and caring to somebody that you just think isn't as in your group, let's just say. And that's been happening a lot. So you just gave an example beforehand in a paranormal group where there was a person who was had a child, and the child was suffering with problems. And someone felt that it was perfectly fine to give their, let's just gonna air quote, diagnosis of what was going on without any consideration of what that information would do to somebody. And then said, well, we can't do anything. We're going to walk away, and, we'll try to put you in this group. Well, again, those people took it seriously, and it actually led to someone who took their own life over it. And so these consequences of what we say, what we act, what we do are very, very meaningful. It shouldn't be done in a nonchalant way and different things like that. But we were talking about that earlier. But I have to tell you, one of the things that's happened that hopefully people are realizing is that getting people to put themselves in group, getting people to say, I have skills, you have no skills, you're asleep, I'm awake, all of these different things that are going on right now was actually put into play intentionally to cause divide and strife within a community called the disclosure community, and then to separate this disclosure community to get it thinks it's something special other than just regular people, which is the worst thing you actually want to happen when you're trying to unify energies.
Yes, and the thing of it is, what information that I've gotten recently is there was really no such thing ever as awake and asleep. There was never a great awakening, nor was there anybody ever asleep. It was more or less people were in their lanes. People were under the impression that there was going to be this great awakening, and we were going to go into 5D and it was be kumbaya. No, it's you're traveling through the multiverse at basically 1,000 timelines a second pretty much, and you end up on the timeline by which then suits your frequency. So it's so there's not really an ascension either. There's nowhere to ascend to. You're really just matching frequency to the environment that you are supposed to be in, and vice versa. So let's say in the community ages ago, you would somebody inserted, say, a disinfo agent a long time ago, and that seeded some information within the disclosure community. Then another one shows up and seeds more of something. This is what's been going on. And even I found out the word disclosure has some spell on it. Basically what happens is when people say disclosure, it starts to sometimes become a psyop. So what you want to do is a friend of mine and I actually came up with a different word, a revealer, like revealing the truth of something, uncovering something. So we came up with a different word, and we noticed there was no spells on it doing that if we came up with our own terminology. So with that said, I also noticed within some of these communities, it doesn't matter from paranormal to revealer / disclosure to any of these, there's always been some seed that has been planted there that then now needs to be removed, and there needs to be some damage control played. But also within what was being mentioned before about some paranormal investigator, not just investigator, but the one that was doing the talking about the demons and everything. You cannot diagnose something if you cannot fix it. This is where I'm really strict on this. If I don't have the ability to fix it, I'm not going to throw a bunch of fear at somebody and say, oh, there's nothing I can do. Except if there is nothing I can really do other than inform of certain energies, I will. But if it's something extremely dangerous like that, like demons, you have all these demon attachments and everything, I will just try my dangest to take care of it. I'm not going to do like what some of these shows do out there and go beating around the bush for a long period of time going, okay, you have to get this team here to do this and to do this and this. I just take care of it. And I don't go through the whole cinema thing. I just take care of the whole thing. And I've even had certain groups run me out of an area because, you ruined our what we were going to do here. And I always say, you don't want to keep ghosts hostage in a place. You can always ask for benevolent elementals to do any spooking or scaring of people at a site somewhere. They'll gladly do it, and they're benevolent. So yeah, you don't want demons or anything around. But before I get too sidetracked, I do want to stay on a bit of a topic here. If you are a trench worker, or you are a paranormal investigator, or if you're trying to help a homeowner get rid of something, do not take too long to do it. Because whatever it is will just be shifting around and moving. You literally have to take care of it within the blink of an eye. You have to find somebody as an equal on your team that is capable of this, not shove them to the background and say, oh, you can't say anything, you'll influence the homeowner, we have to collect our evidence. You have to have them as an equal as they're going along, taking care of the energies as you're getting your evidence. You have to have them just as a job position within that team. And also the same goes with a lot of these fairs and these conferences. You have to have somebody that's good at business. You have to have somebody that's good at energies, and you got to have it all working pretty much inclusive of itself. They ground each other. Both sides ground each other. It's a yin and a yang.
But these are all different ways, again, where I say people have been trained, and I mean that word trained, believe it or not, psyoped and trained into not caring for their fellow human being. Yeah. Where you end up with collecting the information is more important than the people that are being affected by it. That's a problem. It's the same way of when groups will call other groups stupid, dumb, retarded, unawake, whatever, normies, whatever, and what would they call them? I forgot on Harry Potter. Muggle. Yeah. Whatever it is. This is basically saying, again, we are important. You are less than. Believe it or not, folks, that's exactly what the cabal does. Okay? They're the important ones that mean something. We're the useless eaters. All of these things are intentional to divide people into groups so that they do not find a way where they are alike, to unify and get those coalescing energies to make great change. I would love to say that the disclosure community was of great numbers. It's not. People that they would consider less than, what is it again? Muggles. Muggles. I can never remember that. All of these are way outnumber us. And so, if you think that the community is going to be able to just be the energies that is the tipping point, it won't be. It will be the collective of energies from many, many people around the world. So natural unity is something that really we all need to be going to. People think, well, I can't function by them. And I'm like, really? You can't? You mean you don't think you'd all agree that healthcare sucks? You don't think you all agree that pedophilia is bad? You don't think you'll all agree that children deserve to be protected? You don't think you'll all agree that sex slavery maybe isn't a good thing, that abuse isn't a good thing? Do you see what I mean? I could go on and on and on about all of those subject matters where people can easily unify and with those collective energies start to make energetic, positive, collective style energies to move this earth forward in a way that actually helps every single human on this earth. But that's kind of, again, and some of the very basics that we must change, and we must bring and reveal what's really going on behind the scenes in order to get humanity to move forward. You don't have to know anything about disclosure to lend your energies into something being way more positive. And that's a key to understand. So what's been happening in the communities, unfortunately, is that these psyops began, and I am flat out saying, to start these communities and to start these to have an us versus them mentality. That way, what ends up happening is that you now pull apart and you don't unite. with regular people all around you, with your family, with whomever you're feeling like you can't get along with. And then you're actually making a decision that you can't get along. So guess what? You're going to have the experience of not getting along. So a lot of these things and teachings and different things that have happened throughout a lot of groups were actually thought of a long time ago, believe it or not. Most of these things, the New Age community and the disclosure community, were three-letter agencies that started it, and good people came into it. And then what happened is some ideology and whatever started to form that now started division and not unity. And so one of the big problems that we have right now is trying to reveal these understandings, help people see things a little bit better, to say, wait a minute, this we should be avoiding those things that are all about separation. We should be looking for commonality. We don't have to publicize everything that we talk about. But how do we get out in public, get along, and create unity around those things that are so basic to us? Because those fundamental basic things are broken now in society and need to come tumbling down and remade up. And everyone and everybody's energies can, participate in that. So we're big believers, believe it or not. You know us, Michael. We talk about all kinds of things that people would label us just absolutely lunatics and crazies. But we also recognize and see the psyops within the community as well that are actually even keeping members of the community fighting and having problems and not being able to unify, forget unifying with the rest of the public. And so, again, that was a great example that you had brought up before the show that people need to really think about. Did I forget my humanity to that other person saying what I said and not thinking 2 cents of the ramifications that it would do to that person's psyche or their family psyche? And if you do not think of that, if you feel you can just be bloviate whatever you want out of your mouth, hold zero responsibility and caring of what it does to another person, especially when you're supposedly there to help them, you got a problem. You really have a problem, because of what help were you actually? You weren't of any help whatsoever. You did the bad guys' work for them. And so people have to understand these things. And I think a lot of people are in the, wait a minute, I need to think about this phase, which is good. That's a good thing. So, these are topics that need to be discussed. Wait a minute, what's going on? What am I participating in?
I agree. And one of the things that I'm also noticing in my own personal life is, standing back and not getting involved in everything and just watching, as they say, the movie playing out. I have noticed people in my life who, like, I wrote off years ago because I was like, yeah, we're not on the same page. We're not on the same path. We may be related, but that's just blood in the veins. That doesn't mean anything really. I learned how to redefine, everything about that for my own growth. But what I'm noticing now is people that I never expected to hear from again, because we just are so far apart on the spectrum of what we think, are actually starting to come around and just make basic conversation. And it's nice. And I'm not going to say, I'm so, spiritually grown that I'm like, hey, yeah, it's great to hear from you again. No, I'm human. And so I'm looking at it as, yeah, it's great to hear from you. But in the back of my mind, I'm like questioning, is there an agenda? What are they up to? And everything. And so But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's good to have that discernment and awareness, because not everything is, as they say, wearing the rosy glasses. This life is messy, you know.
It is messy.
Ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. So, one day everybody could be copacetic, good, and the next day you don't know what happened. You woke up and the world beneath you has been torn asunder. And if you're going to survive, you got to be prepared. And there's nothing wrong. And, I'm not saying I don't trust the family, doing what they're doing, but I also trust in the fact that, there's history, and I'm not just going to forget everything and be like, okay, there's going to be healing that's going to take place before that happens.
Right. So the question is, can you have civil moments?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. Instead of, reflecting on it and say, you know what, this is a challenge for me personally. Can I actually put things aside and just have, without any expectation, a civil moment? That's really not on them. That's really, again, a choice for you to decide, am I a person who is going to just completely hold a grudge forever and ever? Or can I say, no, who are you? The type of person that I am is I'm going to sit, I'm going to be in the moment, I'm going to discern this moment. And again, does it mean you and I are going to become besties? Does it mean that I am, that I trust you with everything? I'm going to open up with it? No. But can I have a civil moment? Well, I pride myself as a person who can have civil moments. So you may find yourself being tested in a sense, not others testing you, you testing you. And a lot of what's been going on lately has to do with, basically, in general, I refer to it as our higher selves. Are we who we say we are?
I agree.
It's the simplest question.
And the other fact is, it's easy for us to say, and don't read into what I'm going to say, because I'm not pointing at you guys, but there are people out there that say, I channel this or I channel that, and we have this message, we have that message. Well, in all honesty, I could say that and, do that. But what's going on right now, I feel, is the people that are saying that are being tapped in a way that they have never been tapped before. And so they're saying, well, if you're going to channel us, here we are. Let's do it. For real. This is us. And coming through. And conversation is very interesting. And I'm starting to notice how I can almost like feel a resonance when someone's channeling now and going, okay, yeah, this is not your normal energy, so something is here. So, okay, and trusting myself to ask questions to the person and getting, and seeing what the answers are. But it's interesting that where I'm going with this is we're in a phase now of put up or shut up, so to speak. If you're saying you can do something, then you are obligated to do it, and they're going to make it so that you do it.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. It's one of those moments where it's one of those shit or get off the pot type of things. So it's what I've run into very recently, because I do channeling and I am extremely rigorous about my protections. I'm extremely rigorous about who I bring in. We have a phrase when it comes to this: tighter circle, deeper roots. Excuse me, I have a cold, so if I cough, sorry about that. But what this means is you're only tightening the circle to beings and people that you want around you. Now, like what you said, those brief moments and interactions with others that aren't in that circle, you have to have civil moments, even with people that you've cut off. I recently have run into this, and I knew I was being tested in that area as to could I be civil with somebody that I've actually cut off, or old friends that have come back into the fold that I had originally cut off, but now they're different. Their energy is different. Their demeanor is different. They're more mature. I'm okay with them now. So what happens is with the tighter circle, deeper roots, when you declare this, you're basically saying you're bringing on what we call the splitting of the densities, where their vibration is just too far apart from yours, and you're just moving along and staying in your lane and moving on with your life, and you're only attracting people and beings and energies that should be around you. Now, when I do my channeling, I am damn sure of who it is before I do any form of channeling. And because in years past, there were other people that I was around that would rush the situation. They would either try to do it for a cinematic purpose, or they said, well, the show requires a different being each time or a different group each time. And I'm like, I can't do that. I have to stick to my circle. Well, no, this is the requirement, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it for more network purposes. I'm doing it because of the message that is being brought through. And I've made this very clear. And so there's some places that want to do some shows that want to do it for network purposes, or for like an act or something like that. Have I done live channelings? I did it at the 2025 Disclosure Now conference. Yes, I had trepidations from day one about it because going into that, because in years past, I've run into trouble with that, doing it in an unfamiliar space. I'm comfortable doing it in this space. I am not necessarily always comfortable doing it in someone else's. I have to very rigorously protect the space, because within channels, and I noticed this within recordings from many years ago, that I've been going through our extremely old archive from many years ago to see what can be put up on the internet again. And I've noticed time and again, there were those moments where even I, that not having had the same rules as I do now, even I were going, this one's questionable. We're listening to it. It's like, this one's questionable. I don't think I'm including this. I'm going to get rid of this. This sounds like slightly more dubious. I apparently wasn't as rigorous as I am now. And I've learned this from multiple forks in the light socket when it has come to channeling. And this is why I'm also careful about, when we do our Q&As, the amount of focus that people give me for questions or show topics and things of this nature, because I can feel that. I can actually feel when there's multiple eyes in my direction, which sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. Where people want a question answered, and then on top of that, if they're psionically capable, they'll open a portal and they won't realize they're doing it, and we have to deal with that. So I have to rigorously do that and meter that as well. And people think I'm being extremely anal retentive. No, this is just from years of experience with channeling, with the paranormal, with any of these things, where we rigorously open and close the circle all the time. Even before this show, I was doing this in my head. So it was where we just open circle, close circle. And I always tell this to tarot readers as well, where, one of the worst things that they can do is if you're at a fair and they're just rapid firing, doing reads on people. That is one of the biggest no-nos of all time. And they constantly do it because they want to get customers. Or they walk around a fair and try to do mini reads on people. No, you're attaching cords to people, friends. You can't do this. You have to have a sacred space in which you do it in. It's more of a temple space. Even if it's back at your table, you've built that little temple space in that room that is untouchable by anything dark. If you're wandering around the streets like the Long Island medium, going around and trying to get a hold of people, that is one of the worst things you can try. You don't know what's seeing that beacon of yours out there. You have no clue what's in your periphery or within the close proximity if you don't see it. So I always warn people, if you're going to do this type of work, and you're very enthused and very excited about channeling, I'm going to get all these perfect messages and everything, you have to understand that another being at the speed of light can slip in and get you on the word the. This is why if you see me channeling and you're seeing me pause it for any reason, that means who I'm with and myself, we're constantly checking the periphery. And if they say that they have to cut the conversation off, that means it's time to stop. And people in the past, I used to let hosts of things dictate how I did it. I used to somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, why didn't you channel at this event?" Because the energy sucks. That's why. I don't want to be pulling demons off me for the next 6 months. So it's, or ghosts out of me for the next 6 months. I made this mistake. Gettysburg Battlefield, Salem, Massachusetts, site of the Boston Massacre, every god awful place you can think of from the Revolutionary War and Civil War, including that orphanage next to the Gettysburg Battlefield. I am done doing channeling in foreign places because I've stuck that fork so far up the light socket that I have been electrocuted multiple times that way. And I can tell you from experience, don't.
But it's hard, Michael, because I think a lot of people are having experiences. And, now that there's a capability of doing what you're doing, whatever, people have an opportunity to share experiences. And I think if people can frame it that way, that I'm having this experience. What I think, again, what we've learned over the years, and again, we talk very easily about benevolence and malevolence. Those forces really do exist. It's kind of simple. It's really out there. So some of the mythos, and I think we've spoken about this historically before, but for the audience, some of the mythos out there is that if you have gotten to the point in your personal development that you are able to communicate with something, in years ago, it must have been something of benevolence, always. Right? Because, obviously you're reaching up to something greater,
big
right?
Misnomer.
And so that is completely a lie. So you have to actually dot the I and cross the T with your intention, first of all, of what it is you want to come in contact with. And then, you must understand that it all exists. This is a part, again, the revealing. What is really going on out there? What are people potentially coming across that they may not realize? And the reason I state that is that if you have in your mind the perception that there are benevolent, only things that you communicate with are benevolent, let's just say, I'll use the word angels. A lot of people like to use that. It's a benevolent angel. That's the only thing that's out there. Then, you're going to be in trouble because it's not the only thing that's out there. So if you put in your mind and you don't do protections because if something's coming back to talk to you, that's the only category you currently know of, then you potentially could be bringing in a lot of not so good stuff. So but people are having experiences. It's like, again, there's no owner's manual. There's no training. There's no nothing. People just start to have experiences. And then, if they're smart and they open themselves up to say a simple question, I want to know what is. Not assign it that it's all good, it's all bad, but what is it? And then I want to develop my own personal skills to be able to discern what am I dealing with. Then I personally have the desire of I only want to deal with benevolence for my highest good, let's say. Then you start to now narrow the window of what you're potentially dealing with. You'll learn the difference between something that is more benevolent versus something that is not, something that is, trying to be helpful versus something that's trying to trick. But it's not something anyone is just born into be able to doing. These are skills that people now are learning. And again, like I had to say before with the whole community, I'm sorry, they were waiting. Negativity, domination, control, whatever you want to call it, was waiting for people to begin this process of expansion so that it could tamper it down. The worst thing they want is a bunch of people who really got it going on, right? Being able to look and see and understand and energetically put out to change things in a way that they don't want. So they said, well, you know what? If we create these communities, then we can control the communities. And so a lot of those psyops, along with all the other ones that people talk about, that is a part of it as well. So you have to come at this with a big, broad understanding of what is out there potentially to greet you, right? And then you must grow within yourself. So this is one of the reasons that, Michael, we do not like to talk about individual people, because we know, again, the process. We're not out of a learning process. We are still, and humans will never be out of a learning process. So one key figure to somebody that you need to red flag is somebody that says they're at the top of their game. They are not at the top of their game.
Nope.
No one is. And so you have to understand that all this exists. They were waiting with a layer. We call it kind of this layer, of where you can reach into your mind and channel. And we call it the muck layer, because they're waiting. They're waiting with AI and with stuff like that. They're waiting for other people. They're going to have conversations. You connect into that layer. They're waiting for you. They're going to tell you all kinds of stuff. It's not necessarily any truth to it. It'll certainly keep you entertained. And they may even get you to spread a message that is more helpful to them. So this stuff really does exist. But if you have the capability to be able to tap into that layer, you're still having an experience. You're still learning and growing. Just make sure you open yourself up to wanting to know what really is. You need to make sure that you set boundaries. This is what I want to deal with. This is what I don't want to deal with. You need to trust your instinct. A lot of people will let whatever they're talking to shame, blame, and guilt them. They should not be any shame, blame, and guilt going on, meaning they should not be putting you down. They should not be calling you stupid. They should not be saying, hey, you've got to do this. None of that stuff is true. If you have that type of dynamic going on with the guide, you need to walk away, because that is really not benevolence dealing with you. That's something who's trying to dominate and control you. No decent guides or whatever anyway may even say that I'm your exclusive only. That doesn't work either.
There's no such thing actually as an exclusive only. I ran into a person years ago that was dealing with the forest people, and said that she had a forest person guide, and then I came in contact with the same one, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll just tell her I came in contact. She's like, oh no, dear, oh no, that's my guide. That you wouldn't have come in contact. He doesn't contact anybody else, and he's basically telling me that's crap, because I talked to multiple people, and she just has a skewed perspective. And I said, this is it. Oh, no, that's not him. No. And I could clearly tell that it was him. And basically, when you say that's your guide, you have no ownership of that being whatsoever. There is no main guide for anybody. There's no guardian angel per se. There is there are beings, soul family, people that have crossed over in spirit, all the above, galactic, interdimensional, that are there helping you out, and there's some hindering you. That's still true, but there is no main guide for anybody. I've how many times I have dumped beings around me, and I've found ones that were part of my own soul tribe, pretty much. Ones that I thought were versus ones that I now know are. And that's when I was younger. And like when I was little, I saw a lot of these things. I had beings around me and such at that time. Later on in time, I came to find out the ones that I had around me were more manipulators. So I got rid of those. And we said in a show we recorded a while back, you can fire your guides at any time. And also you can, the best part is connecting to Oversoul and getting that download of information and true benevolent spirit, by which then also a lot of these distractions are throwing at you are trying to skew your perspective, by which then you don't access this information, and trying to make it so that your view of spirit is distorted and or appears to be gone. The one big misnomer that's out right now is, they're trying to cut you off from spirit. No, that is impossible. That is 100% impossible. They're trying to skew your perspective enough. They're trying to make sure it's distorted enough to where that is what's being warped, is your perspective of it, and not the fact that spirit's gone anywhere. It encompasses all and everything, like the Force from Star Wars. So it's everywhere and everything and everybody. It's an omniversal, super omniversal state that basically is non-translatable except through medium types or people that access this information. So I find it very interesting. That's another false flag that's being put out there right now. And I know you said pre-show. If I had an inkling to do a channel, that I would be welcome to do so. And I think I just may do that. The energies are cleared enough to where I'm actually able to do that. So,
Well, this is probably an important topic
yeah,
that they'd want to
yeah,
continue on.
So yeah, I noticed as we were talking that the energy has started getting more enriched. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a conduit opening. So when I can always tell when I say a conduit's opening or downloads coming, it usually means it feels like it's overhead, but that's just a misnomer. It's really everything opening up to the point where you can do it. So
Right. And I just want to put in context too that when I was talking with Chris about this is there is no like I don't have an agenda of okay, this person's going to channel today on this show and we're going to get exclusive, access to this or that. I was just simply putting out there because I know he does it. If he so felt inclined, the floor was open and I wouldn't restrict it. I'd be open to it, but I wasn't expecting it. And so that's where I feel like my difference when dealing with channels is different is I don't expect you to channel on my show every time you show up, and two, I don't expect that it's going to be this person or this person or this person. I know you're the channel. I know you don't control who comes in and, and control is not exactly the right word, but there's no way to know who's going to answer the call, so to speak,
Right.
and step forward. So I don't pre-script and saying, okay, we're going to have this person tonight. Come and join us. It's like, because I don't know that person's going to show up. And so I think that's where channels like dealing with me is I have that understanding of, yeah, this is a conduit. We're placing a call. Whoever answers the phone, that's
Right.
who we get. There is no,
Yeah,
hey.
with our intention that the right one for the conversation, the one who can truly contribute to it in a way that will be helpful for the people listening. That is always our intention. So we don't do that either. We're not into the it must be this, it must be that. We know there's a nice collective around, of people, and we want the one coming through that is the best for the conversation that we're having. And that's really our intention is if the energies are good enough for it, and sometimes they're not.
And this is what a couple past hosts. I'm very thankful that you do things this way, the correct way, because there are past hosts that didn't understand when I couldn't do it. They're like, "Yeah, but the show must go on. You have to do it." And I'm like, "No, I do not have to do it." Well, we set it up this way. We advertised, all this other stuff. I'm like, "That's on you," So yeah, I was very unpopular in those circles for a little bit, but okay, I will get to this.
Well, let's just say you were not popular with the wrong people. You were popular with the right people.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So sorry if I start choking a little bit. This cold got me a little bit. So I got that annoying tickle that gets down in the chest. So yeah. A four-year-old decided to use biological warfare on me. So, all right. So
that's okay. A fun way to put it.
Yeah, because he just kind of grabs a hold of you, and like he could be covered in snot, and it's just like, no, you're getting some at some point. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be sick in a few days. So okay, but anyway, I will. Let's see here. I believe it's going to be Lena or Vessa. They've come through quite a bit. So let's see, which one of you two? Forest people were talking to me earlier, but I don't think they want to do a channel. So Elena, okay, yeah. If you could quell this chest from doing this for like 10 minutes, that'd be great. So let's see. All right. Okay, come through. Yes, I am Elena. I am connected to him via not just the crystal that he hangs on to here off camera, but I'm connected via the frequency match by which then I can project my voice through him. The forest people like spook people periodically and say it's possessions, but they're just doing that sometimes for shock value. When they know it can, they like practical jokes from time to time. But in fact, they're masters at it. And hide and seek, as I recall. But world champions, as I recall. But in this, on the topic at hand, yes, this is processes that cannot be rushed. Of course, the show must go on. But within the, how can I put it? The way the energies align that day, whether the channel persists or not is irrelevant. Whether the performance is going on is irrelevant. In that, with that said, the conditions have to be just right to do lengthy channels. He prefers the lengthy, drawn out ones to get the most information out, which he's quite capable of doing. And can snap in and out of it at will. So, with that said, it is preferable to do that within this environment. But back on topic, what you were talking about earlier, what is really the purpose behind what you are doing? Like with the paranormal groups, for instance, are you just gathering evidence for the purposes of academia, or are you there to help the homeowner? This is the conundrum that exists today. Or are you doing the channels for a broader purpose, or is it just for show? He calls it the Cagliostro effect, where it's just a showman, essentially in costume. But in this respect, you can apply that to getting a message out if need be. That is not necessarily the misnomer I'm talking about. It is, why are you doing the connecting, and for what reasons are you doing the connecting, and for whom is it helping, and for whom do these messages serve? You also must ask, whom do you serve? Yes, people tend to go service to self or service to others, but there is no one alive that does not do it for both reasons. Excuse, there is one interference. Let me get rid of it. Excuse. Okay. Now, there is no one alive that does not do it for both selfless and selfish reasons. Now, if it's totally self-serving, no. But if you're also always constantly giving of yourself and not giving back, that is also bad. You have to find the middle ground, the medium, no pun intended, in this particular equation. Whereas you are refueling yourself, but also with the intent to help others. With that also said, if your aim is fame, that's not necessarily the way to go. But if fame actually finds you as a result of doing this, great. But if you can merge both worlds together, getting the message out in a larger platform, even if that platform is temporary at the time, it is very good to put that information out by whatever means you can. Now you have to follow the axiom: who do you serve? Is it just some beings wanting to get messages through and not giving back? Or are these beings actually selfless or selfish? Are they just wanting you as a voice box within their hedge bets of the gods, let's just call it? These are questions you must ask. You cannot just say "thy will be done." You have to go into this with eyes wide open, and you have to go into this with heart wide open, critical thinking wide open. You have to merge both intuition and brain space, logical thinking, to create critical thinking. You must go into this with eyes wide open and heart wide open. Intuition is let's just say, the crown king of discernment. So I know there's not as much time as there would be on their shows. So do you have questions for me?
I do actually have a couple questions. One question I feel like I would like to ask that's I feel in my heart, never been asked probably, is do you celebrate like Christmas and the time of peace and the winter solstice like we do here on this planet?
Similarly, it is more of like a reverence for a time of year, very much like you have your solstice. We don't name it after a person like you do, like your Christmas, but we actually do a celebration of the time of year. Where we're from, we have all four seasons, just like you do. Many people think we're just just a warm either jungle or desert environment. That's what the books have written about where we're from on Lonulus. But there are all four seasons where we do get ice and snow as well, depending on what part of the world you're on. And we are in a dimensional space that connects to an outward aperture, which would be a planetary construct. So in a different galaxy. So there is a tether between Earth, Midgard, and where Lonulus is within a dimensional, you would call it pocket, but it's really the interverse worlds within worlds. We do celebrate the changing of the seasons. Do we put a Christmas tree up? No, but we do light candles, so I guess it's similarly. Do we put up Christmas lights? No, but we do have flame, we do have fire, we do have flowers, we do have colorful things, so I guess it is very similar to how you do it for Christmas. So yes.
Thank you. And my next question is there anything we can do for you?
Doing for us, that is an interesting question. I would say doing for us is also doing for you, making sure you're doing your due diligence of just not just shadow work and clearing your environment, but also remaining in a not just calm state to the point where you are castrating your feelings towards things. No. Don't separate things or dice things up within the self. Maintain a balance, maintain a dealing with your own problems, but also living a life of balance and of, one could say integrity, but this is not what I mean. That's more cliche. It's more doing the thing that gives you life and passion. This helps us more than anything because then we can communicate with somebody that's more balanced and in their passionate, creative state versus somebody that is not. I know this is tough in the times that you find yourself within, that creativity feels like it is dying or on death's door. It is anything but. When you're in a state where you feel that it is on its final throes, you are actually in the throes of an epiphany. Honor that epiphany, honor the synchronicities behind it, but also pay attention to whether you're getting a false synchronicity and led down the garden path with discernment, but also know when spirit is actually telling you these are the areas you're supposed to be in. Now, if you're meant to communicate with us, you will. If you aren't, you don't. But at the same time, what helps us is when you are in a state that is actually more applicable to your truest self, if this makes sense.
It does. Thank you. And my next question is actually a two-part question, and it has to do with Chris and Joanna. So the first part is there anything that we can do to help Chris be more healthy and over this cold that he got from his family? And the second part is if you have a message for Chris and Joanna.
Well, to help him here, I will just throw him under the bus because of the fact that he has done nothing but complain for the past 6 months, 8 months actually. So, but I use this lightly because these were actually valid points that were being made all along. I am actually giving him crap, but at the same time, there's a difference between wanting to do something and not being able to do it. The people think that we can come to a certain place, like how a guardian angel was. You were trained since birth, practically, to say your guardian angel always can do this and do that. That's not necessarily true. Spirit can do things, but it's also limited in some areas because they're two different operating systems. You have your earthly plane or Midgard, and you have spirit world. It can bring you synchronicities and bring you to that that point where you can do things yourself. Like the old phrase, God only helps those that can help themselves, or the gods are best served by those who need their help least. This is an axiom that we share. In this, yes, there are valid points that then, as you're coming up with these valid points that sound to others like complaints, but it's a valid point. When you have this, you are then accessing this energy already, by which then your energy is already beginning to correct the thing by which you are complaining about. So with that said, say if you want, say, the galactic community to be, Earth to be more open to this, and you are seeing these problems left and right, say what he calls the angels unaware rule, where galactics have to run if you see them in public. This is not something we like. This is not something we wish to happen. But some of the treaties in place with your governments around the world actually make the logistics of this a nightmare, or red tape, a nightmare, you would say, red tape. But in this, if you begin to change this, if you begin to notice these things, it begins to light these little fires in places. More changes are made every day that you do not realize. And also just know our community is no different than your own. We might have different frequencies at times, but it is no different than your own. We live, we laugh, we love, we cry, and we do die. So with this, I must also say the message overall to them, to everybody, is, yes, you've heard this before, patience is a virtue. But at this moment in time, if you do have a complaint, express it. Because then you are changing the very energies, not in a big violent burst type of way, but you are literally putting the grievance out there, like you're sending somebody a complaint in their comment box, pretty much, or a complaint box, or a to-do list. So therefore, it may seem like you're disrespecting some beings at the time, and some do get butthurt, yes, but not many, at least the ones where we live, anyway. Unless they have an attitude of a problem of their own, but not pointing fingers at anybody. But anyway, but with this, if you get into this mindset where your intention is to fix this, you start to light these little fires. And also, yes, there are moments of extreme harassment taking place right now. Extreme harassment, more so than people have ever seen, from V2K to entities, to paranormal instances that are off the charts right now. Solar winds that are off the chart. Human resonance is off the charts. Harassment to those that are sticking their head above the clouds, off the charts. It's that dumbing that's in place. Whereas if you're getting above the psionic dampening that's taking place, the real name for it, if you get your head above this, then that's where the whole targeted individual thing comes in. But I also must stress that do not label yourself as targeted. You say that you have been targeted, and now that you are resolving the situation. Do not see the forest for the trees, and do not go into this with eyes closed, and don't go into the attitude of bring it on either, because you're bringing more on. I know that's a bravado, that is you're saber rattling, and you're really actually wanting to go to war with whatever is actually harming you, which again is understandable. The warrior is very understandable and is very needed right now. But at the same time, you must also watch your wording as to what you are saying. If you're saying bring it on, it's like in that movie Sinners you saw, where the person said bring it on and they actually invited the vampires in. Oh, this is actually my point. You don't want to, you have to watch your wording. You have to watch what you say to yourself and to the environment around you. You also have to be wary of what objects you have around you that do not serve, what people's energies that do not serve, who you have to be civil with temporarily versus those that are in your soul tribe. I hope this all makes sense.
It does. Thank you. And you actually answered my next couple questions I had coming up. So thank you for that as well.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, it is part of the telepathic field. You see, it's not all said in words, so that it represents itself in ideas and expressions. So therefore, it can be translated to words. You call it quantum light language. If you saw it, it would be a bunch of glyphs floating in the air. As a part of a language, it's a language like any other. Your Christy Campbell actually writes this language on her drawings. And it is exactly accurate to spec. With the way that it is displayed, and it's a language that gets downloaded, just like he was able to translate a date one time on something just via quantum light language, or so you call it. It actually has a name that you don't have context for at the moment. If I gave you the word for it, you would not recognize it. Just know it is a quantum state, because it's always within flux, but it has an intention put into it. This is within that basic telepathy. It was not words. This is how I knew what you were going to ask. Yes.
Well, thank you, and blessings to you, and appreciation for your time and energy sharing with us.
Yes, I thank you, and blessings in return. Do any of you have further questions for me?
Joanna, I yield to you.
Well, I don't know how much time. I don't know how much time we have. Michael, is there a limit to the show time?
Well, we are a couple minutes over the hour, but we can go longer if you both are okay with that.
Really, just one more question before we close out. So I find you heard about what we were talking before. It's like, people are having to really take a look at even the communities that they're a part of and go, wait a minute, is this really what we wanted? Is this really what we need to do? I find that interesting, because I think, again, it's just one example of many where people are, looking at everything's in their lives and saying, is this truly the representation of how this should be, or what I want it to be? So I thought maybe with that topic, any last comments that you have?
Yes. If it does not apply to what, let's see, how can I put it? If you feel that what you are part of is not representative of who you are, then you know what to do from that point. You know that you do not fit in that circle. You are in someone else's circle. You are in someone else's living room let's say, how did you put it? A civil
Right.
get together.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that that's part of the tighter circle, deeper roots, you see. So you must honor those situations that you come across, no matter how hard it is, to honor that connection or disconnection. You must honor these things as they come along, and you must also recognize whether the disconnect is because of a negative external source, or is it genuine spirit that is flowing you from one thing to the next. It is difficult, I know, but with true connection, you know it, and true disconnect, you know it. This is it's up to your ultimate discernment to know how, but you will just know which one is that you are connecting to. You just have to, how can I put it, attune yourself to the true benevolent spirit, true benevolent source creator, and true benevolent aspects of your own oversoul and spirit. When you do these things, you will actually start to tap into and recognize it when it is around. You train your energy to recognize it versus that which of things that are not it, or have a more dimmed disconnect or mean you harm. This is really all I know on this subject.
And again, I think it's most souls are here to make true benevolent, unifying type of way of being, not as a way of being to separate. Right now, more than ever,
there's a major separation.
Right, and everything's been done in all kinds of groups to separate
politically,
people.
Disclosure-wise, all of it is separate.
All of it. And so again, I think, the biggest thing is to take a look at that in your own life. Are you most people will say, I care about people, I want the best for people. Well, are you pulling away, or are you doing things that, again, you don't have to talk about everything, those civil moments, but are you able to get together and find something of commonality that is genuine, that you can all genuinely agree upon? That's a form of unity as well. And again, most everybody could if they wanted to. So be aware of groups that are trying to pull you away from others and from, a lot of humanity. That is not healthy for us and for what's really needed right now in this world.
Yes, exactly. Anything that was built to divide, I would avoid. Anything that is built to unite, I would go with. I know that sounds cliche, but this is exactly what is needed right now. If, again, you were once part of something that is found severe division, this means this was not meant for you. If then you create your own thing as a result of this that is more unifying, then you have learned what you need to learn from the other thing to pass it on to the new thing, if this makes sense.
Yes.
Yes, and the beauty too is you can choose what is appearing to be uplifting, and when you find out it's not, you can make the choice to change path at any time. There is no once you're on a path, you're on that path. You are free to change at will when you have different realizations through different information. So,
Yes. Yes, when you have that epiphany, then you know it's time. If you do not honor that epiphany, people call it aha moment. Well, just like you heard the story of Buddha, where he tried to starve himself, and following this other cult that he was around. And when he heard a musician travel by him on the river say, "Tighten the instrument, and it will break. If you loosen it, it won't play." When he heard those words, he was able to know what balance meant. That was an epiphany moment for that particular person. He brought that memory to the surface from a movie called Little Buddha, but meaning that's what we tried to translate what we were saying into. But in this, what I mean is this: when you enter an epiphany, when you enter this aha moment, you cannot backtrack. When you see that something needs changed, when you see something needs expansion, when you see something needs to be repaired, and you know the repair method, the expansion method, and the change, if you do not honor this, what you tried to do before in that old timeline will cease to be or cease to function properly, because it may have started out as one thing, but it has transmorphed into something different that you might not recognize as to how to bring it forward, if this makes sense.
it does. Thank you.
So it's what we say. The truth is the truth until a new truth comes along, and the only constant is change.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're all just continuing to expand and become more aware, revealing the truths that are really around us. And, we just, without shame, blame, or guilt, just keep moving on in the journey, and you'll find that you're much happier and much balanced rather than being hard on yourself.
Yes, exactly. Try to ease up on what your expectations are, but sometimes expectations can be manifestations, as you say. But just ease up on what you feel reality should be, and let it flow. Let it flow to the next thing, and that means you're actually standing in your own way if you're trying to push the river, or try to how can I put it? You're trying to ford the river in the wrong direction. Some people want a particular manifestation, like say money, for instance. What they're actually asking for is abundance. So people go, why isn't the money coming in? Because it has, you've declared true benevolence with no conflicting agendas. The coding that's on the money is a conflicting agenda, and you're trying to call it in when you're bypassing your own security. So just say abundance, and the good aspects of the money will follow. You see, people have worded this wrong. People, how can I say it? The energies recognize ill coding on one thing and try to keep you from the other thing. You see, because it's what you've asked for. You've asked the manifestation of a tighter circle, deeper roots, and true benevolence with no conflicting agendas. What does that look like? You may not recognize, like, why are the finances dipping? Because of the fact that you have declared true benevolence with no conflicting agendas. Money as a whole is a conflicting agenda. So you integrate abundance into that. You will then see the good aspects of finances, if this makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. If there's no further need for me, I will detach at this time. So I thank you. And blessings to all of you. Thank you. All right. Oh, yeah, I didn't think that much time had passed, but okay.
And Julia in the UK is asking, Chris, who are you channeling?
That would be Elena from Elena and Invest. So this is see these two on the shirt here?
Yes.
The one in the black is the one I channeled right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the Christmassy version of their shirt. I have this is why I put all this in. It was interesting that question was asked about the holidays because I just got this shirt made. You can thank Sonia Morris of Galactic Fire Tees for making this. So they came up with this particular design. Great designs that she's come up with so far. And I wanted a Christmas version of these with this one in particular. And it's interesting that that's synchronized to a question about that very thing. So I thought that was actually interesting.
Yes, and I tried to ask questions that I felt don't normally get asked of them because I've started to realize, in my own watchings, one is, like you and Joanna are doing the channeling. So everybody is like, oh, what do I need to know? What does the consciousness need to know? The mass consciousness, I mean. And it's always, what do we need? And nobody ever asks for the person behind the voice. And so I started going, wait a minute. What about them? They're getting excluded from all of this. And so I was like, I started going, and when I was in channeling sessions, asking questions, being like, so what do you need as the voice coming through? Or what do you have for the person bringing you in? What do they need? Because I feel like, yeah, for so long it's been a give and not take, or a take and not give.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good that you asked that of them about their culture and everything. They want that. They want that back and forth because they don't want to be seen as angels or gods. They want to be seen as equals. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter the frequency. They don't like it when people are treating them as like a deity or as a guardian angel or a guide. You can still apply, but at the same time, more think of like soul family or think of new friends you're meeting, things of that nature. Think of just your bro that's with you, kind of thing. So don't put anything else to that.
But that's a good point because the true good benevolent ones that are just all about, hey, you guys are growing, this is great, wish you well, whatever. That's how they're going to treat you. There is a whole nother group, as you just mentioned, they don't want to be treated like gods. There's a whole nother group that love to be treated like gods. And love all of that. And so again,
a lot of demigods out
there. A lot of that stuff out there, which are just, again, different beings at a different frequency vibration who, want you to believe that, again, use that, I'm going to say little g, that they're a god. And do they maybe have more skills in a different frequency? Sure. But they're not what you think they are. And I think, there's a big push for those others trying to come through that are, again, more genuine and are like, listen, you know what I mean? We may be in a different frequency. We may see each other soon, but, believe me, there are no such things as gods as you are thinking that they are. This needs to change. And so, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for people. Like I said, so many people are starting to have their skills and are having experiences. Just put out there, make sure your intention is good, that you want benevolence for your highest good. You are going to have to learn both sides. You got to learn it all so that you know what it feels like to get something you want to stay away from versus something you want. That discernment process takes time. You can't be too hard on yourself, but don't lose yourself and do not get involved with things. If you want benevolence, as she was saying, that we've been trying to say, that are trying to pull you away or divide you from others or get you into a special clique.
Right.
That's a division tactic that you just don't want to get involved in.
Yeah.
Right. And Chris, I want to tell you, I tried to get you a healing session while you were at it, and they were like, nope, we're not that type of group. He's got to do this himself. And I was like, I tried.
Oh yeah, they would have said, but I know you communicated with them. They're like, no, he knows what he's doing, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, it's that annoying tickle that gets down in your chest that you just can't shake it. It's one of those. It's when you, it goes away for a minute. But
Yeah, but I appreciated that too, because so many people think because this energy is coming in and you're like, with your cold, you were talking a lot longer without reaction, and so people are thinking, oh, they're healing him, and they're like, nope, we're not.
Just put it aside for a
They
second.
do. It's literally
so-
like, let's set this aside for a second. And then it's like, the rubber band that comes snapping back.
that, and also I noticed some beings that you channel, like if it's an elemental or a titan type of being, if you have a virus in your system, channeling one of them will make it worse because they're biologically incompatible with us. So if you try to channel one of them and you have some kind of sickness, it'll actually inflame it if you have some kind of sickness. So I've noticed it's a complete misnomer that if you channel, you get healed. Complete bunk, because unless you are actively trying to heal that yourself, then they can help you take the rest of the way while they're sitting there. But yeah, with Titan type beings, I noticed there was one by the name of Chrome that we would channel, and he'd come in. He goes, "I do apologize. My biology is vastly different than yours. I may make this worse." Just saying, that kind of thing. And other elementals, when they're around, my blood pressure goes through the roof. So it's an incompatibility of physiologies. With them, they are exactly like us. So that's also why they gave you the answer. It's like, no, that's not our department. No, that's like, because there's medical ETs called Velodians out there that is their department. So it's just like many of us. Like, could you like if you're an EMT, of course you can revive somebody. If you're a police officer, that means you're a guard. If you're a fireman, you put out fires, things of that nature. They have the same thing out there. It's just been categorized as different classifications of angels, like protector or like science officer, kind of like the Star Trek crew. It's like that, and it just got mistranslated over to the other one. So people said, "Oh, this is a protector." Like, oh, that was probably a security officer with a big sword or a phaser or something like that they saw at that time. So that's what the kind of thing they want to relate to. It's just like, yeah, we're not our brother's keeper kind of thing. So
Right.
That's where the true benevolent beings are. If they say, "I'm not my brother's keeper," he's got it. That's when you have a benevolent being right there. That's when you have a genuine one right there.
Right, and I thought it was kind of amusing too when they was talking about how they celebrate. He's like, "Yeah, we don't do lights. Well, we do like candles, and we have flame, and so I guess we do have lights." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess we do. It's a matter of perception."
That's the same thing. They had it's pretty much the same thing. It's like they have flame and light. It's like and colorful flowers and bioluminescent plants. Yeah, it's the same thing, just displayed slightly differently. That's all it is.
Yeah. But I found it interesting that they do 4 celebrations, and so it's like my mind instantly went solstice, equinox. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do that. Yeah, like from the winter solstice, summer solstice, even around the Samhain, Halloween. It's chaotic on our plane of existence. It is over there too, but they still revere it. It's not necessarily how unlike our pagan ancestors did, but not just without any of the negativity surrounding it. It's more of a reverence for the powerful time of year, and it's the same for them in their rotations as well.
Right. So we're approaching an hour and 20 minutes, and so I want to give you time to share what you have coming up and what's going on with the lifting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. In January, we're going to be at the Cosmic Contact Conference in outside of Maryland. The name of the actual town is Timonian. Yeah. Brandon Niblett's conference. We're going to be there doing the opening ceremony, and we're going to be there doing our talk there as well. So yeah, people can catch us at his conference. I do have openings in January for sessions. If people want to get a hold of me at the lifting at proton.me. That's how you can get a hold of me for sessions. We're going to be putting a variety of different shows up as well. We also have an alternate YouTube that I have started as well for our older material. I said to Michael off recording, it's a YouTube called At The Lifting Presents. you're going to see all of our older stuff from years past. I have it all dated and time stamped on there. You can go and see from the world of Sasquatch, the world of Dogmen, to Talk with the Galactics, Talk with the Elementals, the Lifting's Guide to Galactic History, and also go to at Galactic Interversal Consortium. You'll see our galactic history as well on that side of the spectrum. So, and at Christopher S. Jacobs is our original YouTube. And it's all the links are available on thelifting.net.
Very cool. And so, any last words that you want, or wisdom you want to share with everybody?
Joanna?
I think basically just, keep on doing what you're doing. It's all about expanding. Be kind to yourself. Understand that we are a work in progress. And, and just remember, one of the goals now for us, especially as everyone sees the changes that need to be made all around us, is that we do that with a unifying energy, not with a division one. And so, just remember that, and just, you can find ways, again, to talk and communicate to just about anyone. You got to dust off those skills, and just remember that be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and do not lose yourself in all of this. Right now it's hard. Don't lose who you are. Remember who you are. Be who you are. Don't lose yourself within all this. It is a bit of a trying time right now. Don't lose yourself. Don't allow that to happen.
Thank you. Chris, anything you want to add to that? Or
no, I think that was well. I think that was well said. I don't have anything to add to that.
And what's interesting, Joanna, is, I'll say this real quick, is a lot of people will always ask me, how do you, use discernment? How do you know what's good or what's going to take you down? And I simply go and say, well, if you're feeling that it's, boosting you up and like uplifting you, you most likely got benevolent. If it's asking you to do something to harm someone, that would be malevolent and walk away. That's about as discernment clear as you can make it. Is if it's asking you to do harm or something you don't want to do, that's against your will, go walk away.
Right.
Don't engage. If it's supporting you, you got a good one.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do hopefully less than 30 seconds here. What I always do is give people an exercise to do. You need to take some time to yourself where you can relax a minute. What you need to do is, first off, what do you think of something you love? It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a tree, it could be a plant, it could be an animal. Something you truly love. Spend some time thinking of it, interacting with it. What you'll normally feel is a bubble right here that starts to expand outward. It's almost pulling you towards whatever you're thinking about. That is usually something that feels good for you. Discernment, on the other hand, think of something you hate. Feel how that feels in your body. Most people will feel it here, down here in the gut. It's like taking a fist and pushing it inside, and you want to bend over. Those are basic discernment skills we're all born with. And so if you sit and you may be thinking of a person you're with, or you may be thinking of what you're involved in or something, how does it make you feel? You've got to become real in tune now with how something makes you feel. You're saying it. I'm just giving some other examples. Something you love, you'll be wanting to be drawn to it. You feel a bubble coming out of your chest towards it. Something you hate, you'll want to bend over and throw up. People will easily start to recognize discernment. What is good for me now versus what isn't. That's not the problem. The problem is, Michael, what am I going to do with that information? Because I think people are going to feel more gut-wrenching than they are going to feel love at this moment in time. And that's the problem, because everything's out of balance. And so you have to address this. This is personal work. You have to address this because the goal is to become in balance and to be able to feel more of that pull and that genuineness, with your life, with the people around you, with humanity in general. They've done really good at making you ignore your own discernment. But everyone has the skill. So dust it off, start using it, and, face the challenges and work on yourself. You'll find things will start to balance out.
Very well said. And with that, thank you guys for coming on and being on my show. And as always, if you ever need a guest, feel free to hit me up. And if I'm free, I would be glad to come on.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Thank you. And, hopefully we'll be able to talk again here soon.
Yes, I enjoy our chats.
Yes, so do we.
Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and holiday. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's only a little over a week away. So,
I know.
And Happy New Year if we don't get to talk to you again before then.
Yes, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if we don't. I'm sure we'll talk before then, but if we don't, here we are,
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year and blessed 2026.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, you guys all take care out there.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, there it is.